the things that you've mentioned, usme you've mentioned a lot about the challenges actually that the people with disability they face, and of course, like one of the challenges accessibility ka bhi, like you mentioned ke the wheelchair that a common person has, uski accessibility roads pe hai, but if you have the wheelchair for a person with disability, uski accessibility ko agar hum बढ़ा देंगे, so they can also go to anywhere, any place that they want to without being dependent on others. And like you mentioned ke people with disability, they don't want to be dependent on others as well, which is why like all these kids that you mentioned about ke probably they felt so bad asking for the help that they opted not to drink water or do all those essentials that they required to be alive. So I'm sure like a lot of challenges are there that they go through, including employment challenges as well. I was reading somewhere that in Pakistan there are like 71% people with disabilities are unemployed. So tell me a bit about the challenges, the common challenges that people with disability in Pakistan they face.
I would say like we are talking about almost a billion people with disability, more than that. Like 10 to 15% of the total population are person with disability. 50% of them are women and girls with disability, and again more than 80% are living in the rural area. So it's a huge number I'm talking about. And those people are not visible because they are not counted.
Are we also talking about people who face any mental disability, or
yes,
is it just the physical
all
disability?
Diverse disabilities,
right. So including
hidden
the
disabilities, it's not very visible. Exactly, right. Intellectual disabilities, right. Physical, visual, hearing, all kind of disabilities. And in our census, Pakistan ki census mein, we have only 0.4 something. That's a huge data gap that exists in Pakistan. According to WHO, World Report on Disability, it's 10 to 15%. Like in Pakistan, they are not the counted population. Because they ask simple questions, they didn't include the Washington set of group of questions in the questionnaire, in the census form. Because when we did the petition to the court, we talked about it, like it's very important to count them. They have very simple question like, do you have a crippled or disabled in the family? They said like no, because they don't consider disabled. They have that hope that one day they will be fine and start walking and all. They just thought like we have 10 family members, 4 male, 4 female and 2 disabled. They even don't consider them as a male, female, transgender. So they don't have that mindset like how we can include the diversity of people, diversity of the disability and all. So we proposed the Washington set of group of questions. It was really important to take and it was accepted, and everyone tried to incorporate that, but unfortunately it was a bit late, so the numerators were not trained. So now we are working with the Statistical Bureau on it as well, like conducting trainings for them, how to include that within the questionnaire. So at least you can count them. We were talking about the barriers that person with disability, and the first biggest barrier is the infrastructure that I mentioned, like washrooms are not accessible, houses are not accessible, hospitals, police station, you just name it, and public places are also not accessible for person with disability. That's why people feel very difficult to go out of the home. First is the infrastructure barrier. The second is the most common one is the attitudinal barrier. Yeah, foreign person with disabilities whenever you see them, you're just scared because you are talking about the physical appearances. We used to have same kind of things. If we don't feel like this person is a bit different, we just start asking them, what happened to you? My brother is also disabled, so he was going in a car, taxi driver was keep asking him, what happened to you?
Right.
And he said, nothing. Are you getting better? He said, yes, I'm okay. And then he was just trying to ignore the questions. And then when he was leaving the car, he asked, "What happened to you? Have you consulted with the doctor?" And the taxi driver was like, "But saying," and he said, "Why? What happened to me?" He said, "Your complexion or your height is very high, so that's why we thought you have to consult the doctor." And then they said like, "No, we always think that we are the Superman and try to find the problem or the challenges in other people's life."
Yeah.
So this is the attitudinal barrier is so huge and common in our community. That's why people are not accepting the disability. And the third biggest challenge is the communication barrier. If we're talking about technology, if we're talking about social media engagements, we talk about any education systems, employment opportunities, that's not translated in the accessible languages for the deaf people to communicate. Sign language are not, like interpreters are not available. If we talk about the inclusion in other brailles are not available. So these are the challenges that the communication barriers. And the fourth and the most important barrier is a policy gap that exists. Policy level changes are mandatory for persons with disabilities. Like if you talk about the inclusion on the global agenda, if you talk about the national policy, Constitution of Pakistan, national legislation, all those documents need a response or proper indicators for persons with disabilities inclusion. And if you have a policy, then it needs some bite or teeth to bite for the implementation, and that is the budgetary allocation, that is again implementation action plans, rules of business. All those components are very important to address.